I come from a I come from a family that's business minded. So I've always been given everything, and I want my growth. So I don't want to say inflation is there, and I'm gonna stop myself just because there's inflation. I'm not gonna let that affect me because I want to keep going. I want to see my retirement. I don't want to be 55 and 60 or 65 and I'm like still going to a 9 to 5 job and I'm still trying to struggle to pay my mortgage. I can't, I don't see myself doing that. And I don't want to have that. I don't want to be dependent on my kids to be giving me, hey, I need groceries today. I can't do that. And I have been I've been teaching myself and having education for the past 2.5 years with the pre-construction market. And I do self-educate every single day. There's something new
Okay, so
every day.
you became a realtor 2.5 years ago?
I was part of a team, yes, 3 years ago, but I have become independent since January.
Very interesting, because you started investing in 2007, correct?
Yeah, that was just because, after that, I was self-employed. I
Right.
had a printing shop. It closed during COVID. Then I went into life. I was like, I'm bored. Let me see what I'm supposed to do. And again, we've got 2 properties and we see that it's going crazy. I just got into it and it was just part of luck. It's part of my mindset that this is what I want to be. This is how I was. I always wanted. That's what I always wanted. I want to have 5 properties and then I'm gonna start, building this and doing that. So that's where I'm going. And right now, that is my main, like a lot of it is the purpose is to have people build their real estate portfolio, their asset portfolios. It's very important. If I can do it, I am willing to share it.
Got it.
If I can be successful in it, and don't get me wrong, there are risks. There's small risks, you know, but I cannot tell you 100%. But I can tell you based on what is happening and based on charts, based on the market, based on the education that yes, it works. And
Got it.
as of today, I have over 10 million um, built in real estate portfolio for investors. That includes myself as well. So that is the amount I have, it's a total amount that I have sold out there and shared out there.
Can we say that after you got your realtor's license and got into being a realtor, you have more confidence in the industry?
Of course, it's all in front of me. And that's where I always say, don't jump into something, try to ask. You said, right? Always rely on your professional.
Right.
You get stuff about pre-construction in the mail. You go in there. Remember, I don't get paid. You guys don't pay me. The developers pay me. And that's my job. My job is to make sure that you're getting into the right place, the right construction. I had a client who just went in during COVID, and now I just returned back to their contract and said, this is a really bad investment. What are we going to do about it? We need to let go because this is not going to work. You have to have, and there's one thing I commit to my investors. If I can't put my money on everything, but I will never suggest any project that I would not put my money.
Got it. Yeah. So
because I have to have that confidence on the project. Yeah. But remember, I can't put money on every single thing.
Right. So you're vetting properties as if you are investing for yourself, and then you're taking it to your investors.
Absolutely.
And introducing the investment to them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. That's great.
So you don't need $1 million. You don't need 500,000. You can have a small amount to invest. Imagine small amount, small risk, but always think big. Always think big. Always see the market. Always see that we're in these, we're doing the right thing. That real estate is always the way to go. Always the way to go. We have personal, experiences with others, and we've, this is the one that we really did well on, right? And then this is what I'm saying. There's a right project versus the wrong project, which I would say leave it to a professional, and they have to know what they're saying. There are hundreds of projects. There are hundreds and hundreds of projects out there. But remember, not every project is amazing. They just want to build something there and make money. And that's where I read contracts. Right. Reading contracts is like there are 183 pages sometimes, and I read each page of it. I get my investors, I tell them, hey, listen, this is what your contract is about, right?
We have a question from Mukesh.
Yes.
Mukesh, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, my question is that same, as Dimpy said, when I was doing my investment a few years ago, first, I was very worried that that's where I could afford it because I have been over 20 years here. I had that, money, but still I had a friend to support that one. But as you said, the real estate always good. My father, my wife has always encouraged, don't do stocks, put it in this one. And I have seen the profit. And I like what Danny said also, other than question also, comment is that it's not, every time you think you will make money or things market can go up and down. You need to have the patience. You need to have that ones, don't get panic or something. My question is now, so when last year I have started becoming, my only worry is that when I will be getting position in 2024 or 25 or something.
Yes.
And how the finding a good, the renter is the biggest challenge.
So on my end, my investors, I do their placement for them. I have placed over 50 tenants, 50, actually now it's already 60. I forgot, yeah, around 60 tenants. And with that, I have not gotten anything wrong. So we have, again, due diligence. We know who we're putting on, right? Finding tenants, there is a process. There will be a lineup. Trust me, I've had so many people right now. I've had 40 people line up for a 1-bedroom apartment. And they try to say, say it's 2,300, they say, you know what, we'll give you 2,500. Can you rent? Can we get it? No, just doesn't mean you have the money now. Doesn't mean I can trust you for anything. No, there's a process. We check credit scores. We check references. We check job. Nowadays you check everything. And because of the market right now as well, they actually, as much as we try not to get their bank statements, they willingly give us the bank statements. Their job alone, if they're, an engineer like you know that there's something somewhere, right? They're starting up somewhere. And there's the contract that you go through. There is, if you leave within 1 year, you have to pay that penalty. There is contracts in place. There's a process, and that process, you can't just go, you know what, hey, you look good, just rent my apartment. No.
So my thing is that first time, that one I sold, I will be getting first time my Calgary condo, basically coming up in August. That's where now I started process, in Calgary. My only worry is that, and I want to share with others as well. Danny and Dimpy, you said we want to share.
Yes.
I have learned, and please confirm to me and others also. Like I've heard that if you have any new, real estate, and if you have a 1 year or long term, rental, you can get HST back quite a bit amount basically. So I found that rather selling it, when you get the new one, you sell it, it's much better to put it on rent and get that back, because if you sell it, you didn't do much because 50%. Yeah. Is it true that you get the money back or something? If you have
in BC, there, I'm not sure about what it is in Calgary and in Alberta or in back east, but here, no, you have to go through the whole thing. There's no money back.
Oh, is it?
You have to pay your GST, and unless you're a first-time home buyer, and it depends on your amount of purchase, then you get some money back. Then you get your, first-time home buyer grants.
Okay, but not on the real estate, if you rent for long term. Okay. No. Okay. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, no, but if you're worried about getting the right renter,
yes,
there's a process. Let me know. I will give you the process because I'm not in back east. I can always share that information to you and tell you what is the best way and how's the best way to get a tenant.
Yeah, my BC investment won't come until 2025. So, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Thank you so much.
Back east one, if you need help, let me know.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah. One thing is make sure you have the right, you have to be proactive. You can't just say, hey, I just did this, I'm done, I'm gonna let it go. No. So my commitment as well is if anybody buys a pre-sale, I would be giving you updates. Hey, you know what? This is what it is. Hey, this is what it is. So it's basically having a focused mindset. It's all in your mind. It's all what you have in your mind that's going to tell you, yes, I'm ready to do this. Perfect. Next one. This is basically statistics on, let's go through the Vancouver, which is a green line. As we know, we had a couple of dips in the past, 20 years. We had the 2008, we had the 2018 where it dipped as well, but we had COVID that went through skyrocket. And then just a couple of months ago, we had it dip again because of the interest rates. But if you see the chart, it may go down for a little bit, but it will go crazy high again. So the way real estate works, it's yours. It is yours. You have to think it's yours. You have to think it's your mindset that, yeah, it's going to go down. Nothing's perfect. It is the risk. But with the trend, it always goes up. Always goes up.
Right.
So there are 3 rules in life. Okay. If you do not go after what you want, you will never have it. You have to have that passion. And I go back to mindset. I want this, I will get it. Okay. And if you do not ask, the answer will always be no. So ask your professional, ask investors, ask around. Because if you don't ask, you'll be stuck there. That's what it is. You're just going to be stuck in that one position. No. And that's why whenever people ask me, when is the right time? I say the right time's now. Oh no, oh this, oh no. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm giving you answers. So ask. And if you do not step forward, you will always remain in the same place. So you have to move forward. If you want to go to Vancouver, don't you, you want to go somewhere, don't you take the steps, go take the car and go walk, right? You have to step forward. If not, you'll just be grounded to the same place over. You're not going to move forward.
Right, that's true. Dimpy, I think you have a question from Chandra. Chandra, you'd like to ask a question?
Yes, please.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So that chart that you had on the previous screen, Dimpy, that was very interesting. It reminded me of the stock market. And I know, the bankers that I've spoken to, especially the investment guys, always kind of point to a similar chart with a similar theory. So, what are your thoughts and what's been your experience, either you or Danny, with investment in real estate versus the stock market? Because again, taking a longer term horizon of 10, 15, 20 years, the trajectory seems to go up.
We're going to answer that question just in a bit. We already read your mind and we'll answer that in a second.
There you go. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Okay. I would say 6 good reasons to invest in properties. Number 1, leverage. Over time, the value of your property is more likely to increase than decrease. And this is what I keep saying. With personal experiences, with experiences from my investors, with experiences with the people around me, they're most likely to increase. You just have to make sure you have the right project. Right project will definitely give you an increase. Number 2 is stable investment. The annual appreciation rate for house prices has averaged to 9% in the past 5 years. I could even say it goes more. It goes way more. It depends on which area and what type of property. Houses, yes, land houses appreciate more, condos less, but they appreciate. There came a point in time just in COVID, it appreciated 43% just in Surrey for condos. Their trajectory for the 5 years was 43%. So we're doing well. So you're definitely having a stable investment.
Dimpy, can I ask you a question? When
Yes.
you're projecting, who's projecting this?
This is from the real estate market, our board, the real estate board.
So the BCREA?
Yeah, the BCREA, yes.
Got it.
Because everything that I'm sharing right now is BC.
Got it.
So we have that rate sheet. If anybody wants it, please let me know. It comes out monthly. They can tell you what is the projected. So when the interest rates went up and things went down, those rates went down a little bit as well. But monthly, it's been going up again. So those rate sheets are very, very, it's open. It's open for us, and I can always share it to you. Okay, for anyone that needs it. Extra income, buying out a property and renting it can often, and it has extra income. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It depends on what mortgage rate, but eventually, yes. Rentals are so high right now, it will definitely cover the mortgage. It brings in the extra income. My rental income is bringing money in. So you are thinking, those extra little money that you need, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's extra. It's definitely extra. And then a necessity, the demand for nice and comfortable homes is on the rise, especially places that provide ample amenities. I thought personally we were going into a stable market. We're back to multiple offers now. Luckily, there's a 3-day recession period when you put a subject-free offer. But just as of a couple of days ago, it's back. My buyers are starting to have a hard time putting on offers because they want to put subjects, and subject frees are coming out. So yes, the demand for nice and comfortable homes, especially new builds, especially newly renovated homes, is definitely on the rise. Number 5, retirement plan. The right property investment can still assure you an income after retirement, bringing you in yields and profits from sales and rentals. And that is my why. That is my why, my family, and I want a good retirement. I don't want to be working 24/7 the way I do right now when I'm 60. I really don't. I really want to have a good life. I want to be traveling, hopefully, or doing stuff for my kids. And number 6, an asset. Property can be considered an asset as it will increase in value and provide a stable and secure investment.
Yeah,
it is as it is.
Yeah, and coming to extra income, that buying houses with basements,
yes,
that brings you extra income. That becomes a mortgage helper, right? And that's how we say it in the real estate language. It helps you pay down your mortgage, and that's why it becomes a mortgage helper. And in BC, they encourage that. And in any way, the more areas you have. Some people are building couch houses, right? And yes, why they're building couch houses is the same reason. Yeah, where they build it, but then they rent it out, and then they get income for that. So that's that's another help for extra income, right? I think Mukesh has a question. Mukesh, you want to ask a question?
Okay, my question is, I agree, whatever, Dimpy, you have said. One is that on the extra income, that's fine. But I've seen on the condos, some of the friends in Alberta, Ontario, and maybe BC, the same thing. Based upon the rate increase, I've heard that the owners, they have to pay from their own pocket also. Maybe BC, yeah.
First few years, I would say between 200 to 300 just to start getting going by. And that's because we had to get through that inflation right now. Yeah. But if you're going to tell me a couple of years ago when interest rates was 1.99 and the interest rate was at least still 3, we were good. We were laughing. But now we're 6. That was something that we did not project, right? But we have with BC rates right now, it's very stable. And they are not going to keep it high at all. They cannot. People are going to start going insane if they keep it that way. It is going to go down eventually. I don't know when, but the bankers are hoping so. And me being a real estate agent, I'm hoping so as well.
Yeah, right now that's what is happening. Okay.
Yes.
So just need patience.
Patience. Okay. It's all about patience. it starts with patience, it ends with patience. You just have to be patient. You know, you won't see your apartment 2 years, 3 years from now, but you know deep inside, you're patiently waiting. What is it going to be?
And also, I would add to that, you know, not everybody wants to go the traditional route, right? Going the traditional route of, you know, signing a contract and giving the condo to somebody for 2 years, that's very traditional, right? There are many other ways that you can think out of the box and where you can increase the cash flow for your property, right? And the more you increase your cash flow, the better for you. And when you increase your cash flow, then you pocket more than you think you are able to pocket. So it's just a strategy, Mukesh, that you have to think about while doing investments, right?
I would like to, oh, go ahead, yeah.
And I think answering Chandra's question, stocks doesn't offer that, right? Stocks doesn't offer you the alternative, right? Once you're in a stock, you purchase a stock, you're stuck there. In real estate, we have different avenues and we leverage them. So that's my answer. And we'll move on to the next slide.
I actually just have one more thing to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Danny.
Yeah,
is that a lot of contracts right now, which is reading the contract, your deposits are safe. Your deposits are safe. They're insured.
Okay,
They're insured.
so all deposits are insured?
They're insured. No, depends. It all depends on the good
That's
project.
why I asked you. Are you saying all?
No, good project versus bad project. What are your assignment fees? What are your assignment fees means at the end of the day, if you decide you do not want to complete it and you want to put it back in the market and just take the cash to yourself or with your partner or whoever you invested on, this is the money you have to pay back to the developer. And developers can get greedy. They can come from 6% to 2%, and that's where you need the professional to negotiate that for you. For my investors, it comes from 5,000 to 2,500 to 500. Those are the assignment fees. They're basically legal fees. Nothing is free. They have to do their paperwork. We have to do our paperwork, and that's when we can put it in the market and sell it again. Right?
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm saying. But if there's one project right now in Richmond, it was a good project. Unfortunately, Richmond really stabbed them at the back. Bin Properties, they cannot complete. It was 6 months ago. Their contract was good. They're returning back the 20% of people.
Got it.
Perfect.
I think Kaushik has a question. Kaushik, you want to ask your question?
I don't see that.
Yeah. So Dimpy, that was great. Thank you for all the great information there. So myself, I bought a pre-construction hobby, obviously, back to Mukesh's question. Mukesh, if you need any help with Calgary, I'm very active in Calgary. That's where I invest. That's where I have my properties in. So happy to, make some connections for you to make sure you land up with a good property manager or a good leasing agent to make sure they get a good rental, because I've literally been burnt. One bad property manager could cost everything you want and you'd be like, I don't want to invest anymore. Like you could literally be out of the game.
Yeah, I know.
I've lost tens of thousands of dollars not doing the due diligence. And you know what? Hiring a cousin of mine, friend of mine, eventually going sideways. So now how I do it is I do everything properly with the lawyers, properly with the professional company, look for a license, read the contracts, sit on it, and make sure that I don't lose money. So
wow, you just said everything.
But happy to share all the mistakes. So at least you know what? At least you know what not to do, and that's the most important thing. Based on Calgary, though, especially with pre-construction. Yes. And so back to BC. Great points you raised there. Dimpy. Quick question to you though. Now I've been closely watching the pre-con market, mainly in anywhere from Central City to Abbotsford. I've been very as a matter of fact, I just basically gave a deposit to one of the properties out in Built by Port in Central City.
Okay.
I mean, I'm after doing all my due diligence there. But quick question though, I'm still actively looking to probably buy one or two more pre-cons and just leave it for years. But what are the top, other than the assignment clause, which I'm completely aware of how it works with the assignment, other than the assignment, what are the top, let's say top 2 or 3 things that investors who buy a pre-construction make a mistake with, so they actually end up not even break even, but they end up losing money because they did not look into the specific the fine prints in the contract, or that the builder basically wets them with?
It's
Your ex-
another one is the one I said a while ago. You have to have insurance on your deposit. You lose your deposit if they just decide to go into bankruptcy, right? You're just going, and there's one here in Poco that happened. They're not returning it. There was nothing, and they lost it. There's nothing you can do about it. Strata fees. Check your strata fees. They
Okay.
project your strata fees.
Yes. And
They
is it
project- and
if-
it's very close. It's actually very close when you look at it. Here in BC, when they project 59 cents a square foot, they will go around that 59, at least for the first few years.
okay.
Because that when you're doing your calculations, you're doing a calculation, you're saying, okay, I'm gonna pay 200 on strata fee, I'm gonna pay this much on mortgage, I'm gonna put it out on rent for this much. And suddenly they realize the strata fee is wrong. Instead of 200, I have to pay 400. I'm out $200. That means I'm out how much? 2,400 a year.
Right, but if they say 50, let's say 50 cents a square feet for 500 square feet,
Yes. Yes.
doors, it could be around the 50 cents a square feet when they finish the building, isn't it?
They
when they-
will, they have to keep it that way, but there are some that don't.
So,
Okay.
so
There
I
are
would
some
say that
don't. So you
if-
have to make sure you have to check properly. There's some that don't disclose it. They don't disclose it in their square foot. Like when they give you the property sheets, you're like, if you're not aware, if you're not an aware investor, you're never gonna ask it.
Also, they don't even tell you how much
They
you
don't
can.
even tell you. They don't tell you.
Really?
They don't tell you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
here you are investing. Oh, it's wonderful. What am I gonna do?
May I bring a point here? So I was doing my due diligence with the contract that I signed, and you know what? I've read two contracts. One contract said if the square foot of the straight-up plan is more than what it is built, let's say if it's 500 square feet, and now the straight-up plan, the actual build comes to about 540 square feet, the builder can actually come after me for more money.
They do. They
That was
actually.
price. At the same time, if the square feet is less, they put stipulations where I get only so much reduction, or I cannot even back out of the contract a certain amount.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
like, it's like, who's it favoring here, right? I'm a bit.
But that's it. All goes under the contract. You have to read the contract. There are 183 pages of contract. Trust me, word per word, I have to read them. It takes me 2 days.
Okay.
There are legal things there that you read. They're like, no, I don't agree to this. Right? If I complete and it's a year after, there's really nothing you can do about it.
If something that you're not agreeing with, or something that is,
If you have to ask
can you go back to the builder and negotiate it, or you can just walk away from
your real estate your real estate agent should be able to. I negotiate assignment fees all the time.
Okay.
But if the developer is as stuck up as they are, there are some that are, we don't care, go bring your business somewhere else, then I'll go bring my investor somewhere else, unless my investor is adamant on that one.
Okay. And do the developers normally let you assign the building before it's completed, or do it before a certain
There's
time?
an amount that they have to sell.
Sorry?
There's an amount of units they have to sell.
Got it. Okay, so that's pretty normal then. Because
have
they don't want to see you as a competition.
Yes, they have an amount, and then there is some amount that they keep for themselves that they will sell at the end as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So you
Last
just
last question to you.
Yes.
I spoke to a lot of investors who've done pre-con before I even
Yes.
bought anything. Okay.
Yes.
First thing is, tell me how did you lose money, or how did you make money? So obviously I get to hear all the bad ones, because
Of
I've
course.
lost money in a pre-con in Calgary, and
Of
then I
course.
made money in some. So
Yes.
in Vancouver, Toronto, back to Toronto, I had a few people talk about development charges or cap charge. Development charges basically. But in BC, I've spoken to almost 6 to 7 people who have made good money in pre-con, but they don't really talk. I mean, they said they haven't had any much issues with, with developers charging development charges. It's not
I
even
don't.
cap.
Yeah,
They don't
no,
even
it's
see
not.
that.
Yeah,
Have you heard about it here?
No, that's why I'm
Okay,
like.
it's more Ontario thing then. It's more Ontario
Yeah,
thing
it's
then.
more an Ontario thing. Yes.
Okay.
We don't have development charges. Sorry, no, I haven't heard of it.
Okay, no, that's
So
fine.
we have land transfer taxes.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, that's you cannot avoid it.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
it.
that's about it. Yeah, I think pretty much all my due diligence is covered. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for your question, Kaushik. All right, perfect.
Okay, so for me, I'm done. I will pass the floor on to Danny. Danny, you have the floor to explain,
Thank you.
discuss.
Thank you. And thank you for explaining all that in detail. If we can give her, you know, a high five on icon on
Thank
Zoom,
you.
I'll really appreciate that love or heart. I'll appreciate that. Yeah, and I will, you know, take the floor from here. So I'm an immigrant in Canada, and it's my second year in Canada. I previously was in business and manufacturing for 27 years. I'm a online real estate content researcher today. So I research content. I rank websites. That's what I do in the digital space. But and if you guys want to check me out, you can go on my LinkedIn profile. That's for my content research work, right? And my Facebook talks all about real estate. I purchased $5 million worth of real estate between 2007 and 2018. And as everybody knows, and I'm not shy to say it, that 2008 to 2010 was a really bumpy ride. But I came out pretty well, right? And that's the reason I believe in real estate versus believing in stocks, just from personal experience. I continue to invest in British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Quebec. These are the 5 places that I would put my money on. But as Dimpy said earlier, we do due diligence, and without due diligence, we won't move forward, right? So this is my why, right? On this side of the screen, you can see my 2 children. They're today 24 and 23 of age, right? And a friend right by me who believed in real estate just like I did. You know, we purchased properties together, and well, I shared ideas together. You know, experiences count a lot in this business, right? On the other side, you can see that, you know, those 2 kids have grown up, one by each on the picture. My wife by me, my sister by my wife, and my mom by me too, you know. And this is my biggest why I stand for believing in real estate. This is my education. I first started with Rich Dad Poor Dad in UK. They were called Tigrant Learning. And when I moved to California, I was mentored by Freedom Mentor. They're based in Miami. And today I am part of a group by the name of Wealth Genius in Ontario, and I'm coached by them. I spent about $46,000 and more on my education. Of course, education is one part of it. Traveling is another part of it. Hotels is another part of it. And food is, feeding yourself is another part of it. And this is a quick glimpse of what it looks like, right? That on the bottom side, there was an event in Vancouver, and Alfonso's by me, right? He's my mentor, and I do have a coach as well. And this is just this comment from my coach recently, and I really appreciate him. His name is Sean Woodland, and he just put in his comments about me, right? I do have a video over here, but maybe I'll play it later on. This was my second property that I purchased. I put in about $130,000 in 2010, renovating this whole property. It was a 1,700 square feet apartment. As I said, this was my second apartment, and I really believe in of a Hindu religion. I put an Om over here, so there was an Om sign on 3 corners of the house, right? And this glass itself was like made to order. We lived in Hong Kong at that time, and yeah, getting this done was not that easy. The value of that property in going further down into 2018 was $32 million Hong Kong, which is 3.9 million US dollars and close to 4.2 million or 4.3 million Canadian dollars. And I said that was my second property. My first property was around $1 million. And I put this sheet together, right? And it's called the Billionaire's Code, right? All of us are in a different space in life, right? Whether you're a seeker, and that means you have invested about 40K in real estate, or you're a starter, right? That you've invested 100K, and it just goes on. So this is pretty much my guideline, right? Where I am in life today. And, you know, few things that I do hit sometimes, right? That, you know, I might be dabbling in my head. What am I doing? You know, am I doing the right thing? Fear of market going down. Obviously, when the market goes up, we're all happy, but we have to prepare our mindset for the market to go the otherwise, you know. So if it goes south, are we going to be still okay with it, right? And I go back to the fact, and maybe you guys would like to vouch for this. When you guys were a kid, right? We all are different age groups over here, but go back maybe 20 years ago, right? The cost of bread was not $4. Can everybody agree to that in the chat, or unmute themselves and agree or disagree to that? Because 20 years ago, bread was not $4 for us. It was like $1 and change, right? But as Dimpy said, yes, inflation, you know, continues. And how can we stop, right? How are we going to stop eating bread at $4? The answer is pretty much no. You might cut off 50% of it, but you won't stop eating it, right? So that's the chart I put together, and you know, I hope that helps you guys as well. And I'll take my presentation forward from here. This is one of the huge things for me, right? A lot of people are on the red line, and that line is the circle of concern, right? And yes, everybody should live with concern, right? But not concern about the weather, the traffic, you know, what's happening in the news and stuff like that, you know, what's happening in my workplace, you know, my colleague is a pain in the butt. That's really, you know, being too sensitive, right? When we go into real estate, and if we are real investors, right, we have to shut down that noise, right? So this is what I talk about. I read this chapter in Stephen Covey's book, right? How I talk about myself and other people, right? Quite a few of you know me for personally as well. I really don't comment about other people, right? A lot of people tell me, why didn't you comment? The whole thing is I don't comment about other people because I don't create noise in my own head, right? My way of thinking is I plan and I create. You know, I have a choice, and I have a choice to respond to something, right? And I have a choice to watch the news or not. So I think this is a very helpful tool for a lot of people that they can think about themselves, right? Which area are they in? And I like to work as a team, right? I'm not a one-man show, and I don't like to be a one-man show. Frankly speaking, my business and manufacturing business taught me a lot. You know, I try to control every department. I try to control the R&D. I try to control the inspectors in my company, and I worn myself out. I used to work about 12 to 14 hours a day, and that was not fun for me, right? And again, this guy over here, he, you know, you don't see any green shirt player behind him. He's by himself, right? And what's pretty much going to happen, you know, is there are 3 people in the white shirts, and they'll bring him down, or he won't score the goal. So in life, I like to work as a team, and everybody brings a special expertise, right, on the table. And that's how I work with my teams, right? If somebody has an expertise that I don't, I love and I look forward to work with those people. Why? Because they have something I don't, right? And they probably don't have what I have, right? So we are really exchanging skills to get maximum of what we invest. And that's what I put this chart together. It's all about teamwork and team building, right? If you see the successful investors, you'll see that they are back behind the team, right? So teamwork is very important, working together as a team, right? And being open-minded, going back to this presentation, the more open-minded you are, the more easier it is to work, and you become a team player, right? A team player is somebody who's, able to get along with other colleagues, right? Over here, if I work with other people and I get along with them, that's when I can work as a team with them, right? It's either don't go in the team because you can't work with them and get to know them better before you go in the team, rather than quitting when you get in, right? And team building is a process again, right? It doesn't happen overnight. And if you see over here, the word trust means a very, very big thing, right? We live on trust, and especially in our Asian community as well. Of course, these days we are very rigid, and we want to work a lot based with documents and all that. But way back in the days, our parents, I've seen my parents trusting a lot of people. But again, when you enter investment, I really highly suggest you knowing the people, knowing your own tolerance, and knowing the other person's tolerance, the group's tolerance on its own. I think we did have a question earlier by Chander, how's the comparison between stocks and real estate, right? So I just put this, I've got this question a lot of times, and that's the reason I didn't put it right after Chandra's question, right? So when you go into real estate and stocks, you're pretty much buying a paper stock, right? You don't feel the stock. You can't feel the stock. You can't feel the company. You cannot go into the manufacturing plant and forthnote, right? In real estate, if you invest, you can feel your property. You can go into your property. You can manage your property. You can renovate your property. You can't do all that to stocks, right? Stocks is pretty much, it's something on the Wall Street or something on the stock exchange, right? You're trusting that company on 100% basis. Whereas real estate, you are handling it and increasing its worth. Like I showed you before, I put $130,000 in renovation. The reason I put $130,000 in renovation is not because I had a lot of money, right? The reason is when I purchased a property, it was in pretty bad shape. And I had to do work to make it worth and get it assessed at its new valuation, right? You can't do that much with stocks. And that's the reason, I really don't believe in stocks that much. But I'm not a professional in stocks, and, maybe some of you are, and you have had great experiences. I'm not here to say stocks is a bad investment, but for me, it's not. And here's another thing that, we have in our heads, we've heard this a million times: money doesn't grow on trees, right? Now, I do agree money doesn't grow on trees. It's hard to, we work at a job or we work in a business to maximize what we can make, right? But I would say this, right? Money grows by having conversations. The more conversations you have the chance to grow your money, right? And this guy over here, he has a rat in his head, in his mind, right? He's whole way thinking, negative stuff. But successful people can usually be measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations you have, right? For me, being in front of you guys today might be uncomfortable, right? But I'm still doing it. The reason why I'm doing it is because I want to see my community successful, right? And I really believe, some of you know that I'm a volunteer in Surrey Sai Temple. and I do volunteer work, right? But that's just because that's who I am. That's who I believe I am, right? And I believe that I'm born to serve. A lot of you would recognize this person over here, and hint, hint, he's talking about conversations again, right? 7.8 billion people need to change conversations of what success looks like. It's a conversation that takes you to the next level. Honestly, like I couldn't disagree to this statement right here. So why us and why you're here today is we're here to share some knowledge. Dimpy shared hers and I'll share mine. We walk the talk, right? And our net worth is income for us, right? What we do, we want income, we want profits, and we want to level up to the next level, right? Wherever we are, based on the chart I showed you earlier, the billionaire scored, everybody's on a different ladder, right? But it's okay. And it's completely okay to go in different directions. But this is what I think, right? You don't need to invest in processes when you work with people who already are in investments, right? Who are doing real estate investing. So we already have invested in ourselves, as you saw, $46,000 in change plus. I guess I never put it down on paper, how much was my travel costs and all that, but I'm just assuming that I probably spent about 60K on my education, right? We have tried it, we have tested it, and we know what works. What does real estate really need, right? As Dimpy said earlier in her presentation, right? Talking to builders and developers for pre-sale is, you have to be creative, right? And you have to think out of the box. Yes, we all need negotiation skills. Why? Because as you can see on the screen, when you build wealth, you want to invest right. And when you want to invest right, that what I mean is you want to buy at the right price, right? And you need those skills, right? Whether you have them or not, but to be an investor, you really need those skills. Even Deepak has shared that he's a property manager, and I'm quite sure that he deals with tenants. He has to negotiate with them. He has to, sometimes be a bit hard, and sometimes he has to be a bit soft, right? So again, comes to our skills that we have to acquire, right? We need mortgage qualifications. Yes, we have to have the right contracts, like Dimpy said. Now, Dimpy works as a realtor and I work as an investor. We'd have different contracts, but the end goal is pretty much the same, right? We have to have the right clauses in our contracts. If we miss a clause, we are getting, we are out there to get hit. And that's not the business that we are in, right? We need down payments, we need legal fees, repairs, fixes, builders, construction, and more, right? So this is how I invest, right? I invest where I can bring value to the property. And I'm just going to play this short video just to show you what a property that I invest looks like, right? Dimpy showed you hers, those beautiful pictures, but I'm going to show you something. And, I have an appetite for it, right? So I'm just going to show this to you. Give me a second. So this is a property out of province, and I out of my education, I do a lot of walkthroughs, right? I do a lot of virtual walkthroughs. And as I said, I have a team in different provinces, and I want to see what exactly the condition of the house is, right? Before I even touch it. So this is a house that last week I was evaluating, right? I was thinking to acquire it, and it was early in the morning, and it was in New Brunswick. So you can see me sipping my coffee, but this is how the house looks like. the roof needs to be changed. The walls have, mold, but this is something that we buy, right? And why do we buy it? Because we can add value. Like I said, I can't add value to a stock, but I can add value to an asset, right? Whether I want to renovate it to the best of the best to do an Airbnb, or I want to just renovate it for a rental property, and give it as a traditional rental. So that's where I said, Mukesh, there are a lot of different ways of investing. And that's the reason I'm showing you this video. I put this video together just so you guys have an idea, of how it works and what we exactly do, right? So this house is a 1950 house. It does have deep problems, but we have an appetite to fix these problems, right? And when we fix problems, we make a profit. So that's really how our investments work. I'll just fast forward it very quickly. This is a basement, it's got an oil furnace in pretty rough shape. But yeah, we do take such properties on, and we like such investments. All right, so Dimpy, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right. And this is a project that we're acquiring in Rocky Mountain. That's in Alberta. It's a 38 unit, and we're going in as partners together in this unit, right? This is a 40 unit commercial, which we have under contract, and we are looking to convert it into 88 units. Again, as I mentioned, we can add value to these properties just because the ex-owner didn't want to do all that work. We come in as a young blood, and we're willing to do this job, right? Why? Again, when a 40 unit is, as a mortgage broker or as a bank, they want to know the valuation of the property, right? And a 40 unit is obviously going to be lesser than 88 unit, but 88 unit does need work. So this is a 5-year project, although it's about 4 years, but I take 5 years in my calculations. And the whole purpose of having a meeting like this is encouraging everybody in our community, right, to move closer to financial goals and freedom of time or whatever you guys are doing, right? And continue to find more deals. Whether that's what I do, I look for properties nationwide in Canada, and I take action on them, right? You could learn passively as well when you go into investments with investors. That's the good part of it, right? That you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn all that. You don't have to do you don't have to build your own teams. You don't have to do due diligence and all that. So that's where the advantages are working with investors. And I would say this very strongly, right? A lot of people just invest for the sake of the investments, but as investors, we don't speculate. We go in, if we're getting a 40 unit or we're getting a 38 unit, we need to add value to it. We need time to add value to it, and it's not overnight, right? Learn and educate ourselves, right? That's our daily mantra. We have to learn, we have to educate. We learn from experiences every day, right? And we love to grow with family and friends and have more partners. But the way I work is I don't take on partners just for the sake of taking on partners. I do want to know my friends. I want to know my partners before I take them on and work together. Because when money is involved, it's always better to know the appetite of everybody, right? So That's what it is for me. And I find deals, I close deals, and I partner up with people, right? As I mentioned over here, I team up, right? Solve problems for profit. That's how we make our profits, right? And we share profits with investors who invest in our deals for creating financial freedom. These are some options, right, of investments. Buying on-market deals, where you probably call up a realtor like Dimpy. Hey, Dimpy, I saw a pre-sale. You know, what do you think of it? Would you can you do some due diligence? And Dimpy, you're on the line, right?
Yes, I am.
So if I walk the street and I see a pre-sale, right, and
Yes.
I want to buy it, if I call you, how much commission are you going to charge me?
You don't pay. You don't pay anything. It's the developers that pay.
Oh, the developer pays you?
Yes. And
Even though, do developers have their own agents? Like they want to
yes,
only
they
work with...
actually do have their own agents, but they are their loyalties to the developer.
Got it. Okay.
My loyalties to you.
Got it.
They will do anything and everything to sell you because that's their loyalty is to the developer. My loyalty is to you. I'm gonna see if this is worth it for you or not.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So that's a traditional way, and it's Dimpy's a professional in pre-sale. As she mentioned, reading contracts is her daily like bread and butter. She does that every day. And for us as investors, we buy off-market deals, right? We want to buy deals where we can buy from the seller, or we buy from realtors. Realtors bring us deals because they can't sell it, or they just know the right buyer, right? Like Dimpy probably, she has so many, like she mentioned $10 million worth of assignments she's done or investments she's done with investors, right? So she pretty much knows what investor has what appetite, and she'll call them up and say, hey, Danny, I have this 12 unit in Chilliwack. Would you be interested, right? And the next move, she's working with me. I want to know what the property is about, right? Why is she calling me up, right? So we do a lot of due diligence, and we also do single family homes where we buy, we renovate, and we flip, right? Now, the term flip is basically, a short-term investment where you get in and get out within 18 months. I do know a lot of people doing it for 6 months. I don't promise 6 months to any of my investors, but I look at 18-month span, right? Now, there's another strategy, and there are a lot of strategies, right? And that's the reason I want to educate some of our friends, families in our community, right? And because we have jobs to do and we have other things to do, right? We don't know all the strategies, and sometimes we get stuck in them, right? So there are strategies like you can have midterm investments, you can have long-term investments, you can have 5 years to 10 years investments, you can have 2 to 3 years investments, and you can have up to 18 months, right? Although we exit earlier, maybe 15 months, but at least we don't promise anybody less than that. So when you invest with investors, you don't pay fees of education, right? Which we already paid. And you take control of your lives, create financial freedom for yourself, right? And a lot of people say this, right? That I can't afford it. It's easier said than done, right? Because everybody thinks that they have to take out 500K, they have to take out 250K to go in investments. You can go into investments as small as, at sometimes, 25K. You could go 25K, you could go 50K, you could go 75 or 100K, right? You don't have to come up with all the money. And that's advantage working as a group, right? You can invest passively, while you handle your business and you do your job, somebody else is handling the business for you, right? And that's pretty much what I call hands-off investing, if people want it, right? This is a quote that I picked up. Dimpy, can you share this link in the chat as well, so people can, go through the whole article, right? This is by a Canadian company. The CEO says we think that institutional investors will continue a push towards 60% alternatives, right? Allocations in their portfolio. Now, who are the institutional investors, right? So some of you might know this term and some of you might not. So basically, people buying investments are banks, right? And financial institutes besides banks. And REITs is another one, right? They're institutional investors. So there are a lot of these type of investors, right? And what happens is when the market goes south, i.e. goes down, investors go in first, right? Because investors are pretty much the 4% of the people with a different mindset, right? So why am I sharing my knowledge of here, right? The whole reason of me sharing my knowledge of here is for some people to take action and move on in their life and create, infinite returns for their loved ones, right? And I like to have open-minded conversations. I think I've had a few conversations with a couple of you over coffee, and I'm open to answering questions whatsoever, right? I am sharing my education with my community, and that gives me, great peace, and in my experiences too. This is what I would say, that the closer we stand together, the stronger we are, right? We've seen communities like the Jewish community, right? And I used to do a lot of business with Jewish people, that they don't do business outside their community. They keep it in their community, so their community grows, and the younger ones learn from each other, right? So that's the whole concept over here that I'm trying to touch. My ultimate goal is, to build a foundation for the hungry, so no child, goes hungry. And as I said earlier, I am part of a volunteer in the Sai Mandir, and that's what I have been taught, and that's what I want to share. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'd love to answer that.
Mukesh has a question for you.
Go ahead, Mukesh.
Yeah, no, I think first, thank you so much, Danny and Dimpy, at least, initiate on this one. So we hope so that we will be, I think, invited for other ones and learn more. I think that this is for, first one is good. Is there any way, I know that you mentioned, Danny, that we will get the link once we will send you the request. And the second thing, can we get, if everybody is okay to have their, contact detail or something? Because I know a few people, you have your own expertise, Dimpy, you have your own, but we have a property manager, we have someone else. If someone is interested, like Koshik, okay, he offered, I'm interested to learn more about this first one is coming up. So how we get in touch, basically, that's where my question is.
Yeah, so Mukesh, this is the first call that we have initiated, and I really, from my heart, thank all of you to be here today, right? Because you could be doing other things, right? And the whole idea is to bring our community closer together. Kaushik is a dear friend of mine as well, and I will ask permission from everybody. If everybody is okay to share details, we'll make a chart, maybe an Excel file or Google document, put everybody's information, phone number, contact number over there. And then from there, you guys, if you guys need to call each other up, if you guys are okay, then I would do it, right? So I don't know how many of you would like that, but you can put it in the chat, and then we're going to review that at the end of this call.
Sure. Yeah, I'm okay. I can put my email and phone number.
Yeah, so just say, yes, share my contact in the chat, and I'll create a Google Doc for the community, and you guys can have each other's contact details. And this is a great spot. This is exactly why I'm doing it for, right? I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for the community. and for the service, that I think everybody should be open-minded to share information. But for some reason, it's okay if you're not. Just put in the chat if you are. I will create a Google Doc and I'll share it via email with everybody.
Danny,
And-
there's a question from Denny as well.
And,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
thank you so much, Denny, again for doing this
Thank
one.
you.
And
I appreciate
also, I think you posted one also investment opportunity. So we will be definitely, I think in my case, will be welcome, if you or, Dimpy, I'm both interested in, your side
Sure.
real estate investment as well as on Dimpy side. If there's any project comes up, we can have that, posted and then person can contact you directly, that'll be good. Thank you so much for your time. Truly speaking, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
no
Vinny,
problem.
Thank
You
you,
have a
guys. I just wanted to thank you both as well. Dimpy, thank you for your insights, and
Thank
Denny as well. I think it's as well said. We want to give it back to the community. That's what we do at Pine Temple as well, and we feel proud in sharing information, helping each other. But at the same time, like I want to understand, like what's the next step? Like there are opportunities out there. How do we participate? I think Danny and me have spoken a couple of times as to what and he's part of the Wealth Genius group and stuff. But is there going to be another seminar? I'm not in a rush, but just wanted to understand what is the next step. If there is an opportunity you guys have, or I have an opportunity, like are you going to form, or do we need to be part of that Wealth Genius group, or do you have a separate group which you're running? Like what is the structure going to look like for us
Okay,
to participate?
that's a great question. Thanks, Vineet, for asking. As I said, right, my mission and my goal is to save every penny from my community, right? So you guys don't go and invest $25,000 in some groups, right? On the same time, if we have opportunities, I'm not sure if who's open about it, but I do know that you've asked me a couple of times about what opportunities out there. There are opportunities that come up every time, right? And we can have separate conversations one-on-one. If anybody's interested, you have my contact. You can send me a email, or you can send me, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger. We can meet up for coffee and we can always talk, right? But as I said, when I create teams and partnerships, I really want to know where appetite is for you and where appetite is for me, right? Now, if let's just say the market goes south tomorrow, right? I don't want to hurt anybody in our community, and I want to make sure everybody in our community is going to be fine about it, right? That it's not the last saving that they've taken out, and that's where I really have conversations with people, right? So if you guys would like future calls like this, if we added value to you, we would love to do future calls with you guys. And the ultimate goal, right, is also to bring you guys over here to talk about your business, right? Vineet, I know you are a mortgage broker. It's related to real estate, right? Just like Dimpy came on today, she had so few things to share, a lot. And I think Kaushik asked a few questions, right? So helping our community, so they don't get hurt with other mortgage brokers, and where people can contact you. And I think that's what Mukesh was coming to, that can we get access to you guys' phone numbers or your email addresses, right? So, somebody can call you and, say, Vineet, I have, XYZ project. Can you help me out, right? Can you be my a mortgage broker, right? And of course, if you don't have any clash of interest, I quite think that you would do it. Knowing you personally, you're a very giving person and you're given a lot to the community. And yeah, that's where I'm coming at, right? Can we help each other? Can we grow this community, right? And that's my ultimate goal. So just
Thank you, Danny. Yeah, I'll take it one-on-one with you, and let's see how we can do it. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Right.
I think you put it into place, since I've always been talking, no action, just been busy. And by the way, I got my first property commercial, my My approval is in place now. I just bought my first commercial property individually for my office. So
Fantastic.
I will have some,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. Just
That-
got the
that-
approval.
Yeah, congratulations. Thanks for
That's
sharing that.
wonderful.
That's been on my
Baba's,
mind for a while.
Baba's blessings. Everything worked out at the end. I
Oh,
don't
fantastic.
recreate his magic today. And some unique things happened. And I wasn't expecting the rate environment we are in. The bond market is so volatile. I was hoping my rate will be somewhere around 7.5%. And somebody was banging and telling me it would be around 8%. I got a 6.3% rate. So,
Aye, you're
so
lucky.
for 3 years. So I think I could have probably got saved another 30 bips, but just sharing for the group benefit that, you know, what is important in banking and how do you get best rates? It's not about, it's all relationship, and of course you need a little luck as well, but the luck plays a role, you know, as you grow. But most important is how you build your relationship with your banks.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
how do they value their relationships with you. This was purely possible because of my relationships with the bank.
Yeah.
Your relationship at the end is all that matters. My actual bank, which was BMO, could not offer me, who sees all my cash flow, who sees everything I do in my business and Lata's business, of course. And, you know, we have a team of 9 people, but they could not see it. And RBC just came along and boom, they were right on target. They knew exactly what, but that was my relationship with RBC for such a long time. And I had a good relationship, working relationship with them. And they just jumped on the opportunity. They said they want to do it. And it was a big win for me. So
Right. No, that's fantastic. And thanks for sharing that, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was coming at, right? We have to be out of the box. We have to do a lot of, negotiations, and just for everybody to know, Vineet was ex-banker and he's in commercial mortgages today. His wife is in residential mortgages. And I do share a very close relationship with him as well. So, that's exactly where I'm coming from, right? Like some skills Vineet has, I don't have. I might, borrow or call him or, ask him for help. And for me, it might be uncomfortable, right? But I have to do what I have to do, right?
And I always say, and I share my weaknesses. I never shy away from sharing my weaknesses. A lot of people hide them under the carpet. I never hide and I don't feel ashamed of saying, I don't know how to do this. And Danny knows exactly. I said, Danny ji, this is where I'm not good. And I think that's where it starts in saying, how can I do better?
Yeah.
Be positive.
Yeah.
But thank you so much again to you both. And thanks everyone. Nice meeting with you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
information
very much.
that Dimpy and Danny on Danny ji with you, if anyone wants to. I just didn't put it on for everyone, but it's up to you. You are managing the group. So
right.
Out of respect, I just put it to you. So
thank you.
How you want it.
Yeah, I think we have participants today who joined the call a bit later, who were not able to introduce themselves. I think Sid and Billy joined a bit later. Are you guys on the call? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, Billy, go ahead. Ladies first.
Oh, thank you. Hi, sorry for the tardiness. When Danny invited me in, I had already 2 meetings set up, so I wanted to jump in. So whatever I've heard for the last little bit sounds amazing, Danny. I'm really impressed. Dimpy, sorry, nice to meet you. I've been investing for my own stuff, and now I've just decided to liquidate my properties here in BC and move them out of province and hopefully out of country. So that's my goal. And I'm actually a police officer. I do that for a living. I'm retiring in 2.5 years. I'm a single mom of 2 kids. And I'm starting a results coaching business as well, using NLP and hypnotherapy. So a lot of mindset stuff, which the more I'm learning about this, a lot of people need a good foundation when it comes to mindset, especially in this industry, because, as a police officer for 18 years, you have to have a very thick skin because you're dealing with problems all day long. And with real estate, I'm sure, Danny, especially when you do flips and things and renos and things like that, dealing with investors, there's always problems that's going to come up. So if you don't have the proper mindset to go through those ups and downs, you'll quit really quick, and you'll save a lot of energy if you have the proper mindset to go into it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Billy. And Billy shares a lot of wonderful quotes on social media. I watch them every day. I like to listen to what she shares. It makes my mind stronger. And maybe in the future, Billy, I'd like you to come and talk about it. That could help our community a lot. And as I said, you have to have the same mindset or similar goals to be partners. You just can't. I've seen bad partnerships, right? And bad partnerships are really one reason of not being same alignment. You don't have the same alignment. You don't have the same goals. How can you work together, right?
You have to have the same value system, and that's something
same
that
value
people
system.
don't understand what their value system is.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because of past trauma, especially in our community. There's so much generational trauma that has been passed down that we carry a lot with us. So through our work, we release a lot of that, because our unconscious mind is what controls. In our world, our saying is the conscious mind is the goal setter, the unconscious mind is the goal getter. So there has to be an alignment. If it's not, it's just going to sabotage your goals all the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Billy.
if you guys are interested, I'm on Instagram. It's the _hustle_coach, and I'm connected to Danny's Facebook as well. I just do value videos every morning. Whatever's on my heart, I let it out for people to.
Why don't you just type it in the chat in case
Sure.
somebody wants it, and then they can add you as a friend and watch some of your inspiring videos on mindset.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it and getting something out of it.
Well, absolutely. Sid, would you like to take?
I think I messaged you directly. How do I change that?
I'll put it to everybody, Billy.
For some reason, it's letting me message you.
No, it's okay. I'll put it.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Sorry, I think so. I messed up my phone. I couldn't have the video on. I think so. There's something needs to be done with my Zoom, the settings in over the Zoom app. But I can just talk if everyone can hear me well. So my name is Sid. I moved to BC a couple of years back from Manitoba, and it's a blessing. I met Danny. He brought me and showed me Sai Babaji's temple, and just a pleasant coincidence that many people here in BC staying for the last 15-16 years never knew that there is a Sai Babaji temple as well. So I'm lucky and fortunate. I am a real estate investor. I did have some holdings way back in Manitoba, which are now sold. So I've moved here, and I am an IT consultant and a real estate appraiser as well. So I'm just slowly transitioning into a full-time appraiser, specifically residential. So that's kind of my background, and I'm kind of always keen to learn and open for potential real estate opportunities. So that's about it.
And we didn't meet in the temple, right?
We met at a real estate group. As I said, that was a meetup last May, and then I got the opportunity to visit the temple with you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, Sid. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I would like to thank everybody who participated today. If you got any value out of this call, you can share it in the chat. What was your biggest takeaway today? And we would definitely be doing future calls if you guys are all up to it. Coming as a community, standing strong together, and building it together, right? As I said, yes, this is a real estate community I want to build within the community, and like a family. So whether you're an appraiser, whether you have a friend, whether he's a property manager, whether whatever, as long as they have values, I would love them to be on this call, sharing values and, sharing things that I might not know, sharing things that, Sid might not know, sharing things that Dimpy didn't know, just sharing. So we can just get a little bit more smarter in what we do. And who knows, if there is a chance of doing business together in the future, that could happen. And if not, it doesn't matter, because that's not the whole purpose of this call. Vineet, I think you have your hand up. You want to ask me a question?
No, Danny, I just didn't know how to remove this hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you just press back that the hand raise hand button and you'll go off.
Lower hand. Okay.
Yeah, you can just
Learn
lower it.
Learn
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So thanks very much once again to be on this call. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for having the patience to listen to all
I do
the
apologize. I think the call went beyond 1.5 hours. I really
Yes.
apologize. We're going to make it shorter in future.
perfect.
All
See
right.
you.
Good
Have a
night,
question.
everybody.
Thank you. Good
Any
night.
questions,
Thanks. Thanks.
let us
Bye.
know. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
You want to press the unrecord, please.
Yeah, I need to find a stop